So Elvis and I were very good friends. And in between shots, when you're shooting I have a frog in my throat. Excuse me. When you're shooting film, as probably most of you know, there's a lot of time in between scenes because they're adjusting everything. And this was a Western. So we were outdoors and talking. His father was there. Elvis had his guitar and a friend who played the guitar. So they sing and we talk. And he asked me at the time, because as I said, I was married to Michael and Sarah, and we had a very good marriage. And he said, "How do you do it? How do you stay married and still you're in a public kind of job?" And I said, "Because it is a job. You know, this is how we make our living, and that's what we do."
You can separate the two.
Yeah. So he said, "Well, I've met this girl."
Oh.
And he said, I really like her a lot, but I don't know about bringing her over here.
Oh my God.
So, flash for like 35 years later, I met Priscilla, and I walked in and I said, "Well, you don't know me, but I knew about you before anyone else knew." Yeah.
Oh. Priscilla was sitting right on the stage about 3 months ago for her first Hollywood show.
Oh.
She did a lovely job, and it's a legend, like you, if you don't mind me saying. So
she's a lovely lady.
She's lovely, yes, she is. People were asking why I know about your I Love Lucy episode. It's always special when that comes on TV. Any memories from behind the scenes of that?
Well, I think it's a story probably most of you know. That it was my, it was my third job in Hollywood. And I had, just before I worked with Lucy, I had worked with another very well-known star who I just adored. I loved her. And she was the meanest woman I've ever known. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it, And so when I was told that I was asked to be on, this was one of the last of the I Love Lucy's, and I really wanted to do it because I loved the show, and I thought, oh God, just be quiet, just do your job, be quiet, and don't worry. I'll tell you something. She was wonderful.
Oh, good. I'm so
She
glad
was
to hear
the
that.
sweetest thing. I had a very tight dress I had to wear in this scene, and she was in her dressing room, and I came out, and she said, "Barbara, come here." And I thought, oh, here we go. Because the other lady was really bad.
Well, you're not going to tell us who that was because you're a lady and we
No,
don't
I'm
guess.
not. So she said, "Do you like the dress?" And I said, yes, I like it. I wasn't going to not like anything, She said, "Take it off." And I thought, oh, God, I've done this now. I took the dress off, brought it back to her. Do you know, she sat there with her assistant, and they put sparkly things on it to make that dress look prettier. The other woman, they would put a potato sack over my head, She was lovely.
I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And then I want to also ask about Bob Hope. You've always given back, and you did so many USO tours with Bob. Either a Bob Hope story or a story about doing one of those specials and meeting the service member.
Oh my, I loved working with Bob. He had a big heart, and of course, the guys in the service adored him, absolutely adored him. I went to the Persian Gulf with him, and before we went, we rehearsed at NBC, and of course, you don't get paid, and the crew doesn't get paid either. The camera people, no one does. You're doing it for them, for the guys that are working for you. So I was sitting there and did a rehearsal, and one of the cameramen came and sat beside me, and he said, "You know why I'm doing this, don't you?" And I said, no, I don't. He said, well, when I was in Vietnam, this was the only entertainer that came behind the lines and made us happy. He said he was the only one that was a little semblance of home. And I almost cried. I mean, it was just... And then when we got out there, my goodness, the reception he got. You know, it was wonderful.
We just had Lindsay Wagner here, and she's another lovely woman. And we were talking about how so often our favorite characters never get married. We hope they will. The show's may be canceled before the wedding happens. And I'm so happy that Jeannie and Tony got to get married. What was your thought, and what do you remember about Larry's thought when he got that script?
Happy about that.
Well, okay, I know. So I know that some say that it took away some magic. I just loved it, and I just before I came here today, I watched the fantasy episode when you and Roger, I say you and Bill Daly, were looking into the future, and you saw the two children, and I'm like, that could have been a continuation of the show. It would have kind of become like Bewitched. Yes, I did love it, but what were your thoughts, Barbara?
Now you know. No, I thought they never should have married. Never. She wasn't human. Come on, she was an entity, and that was part of the funny part of the show. Was that she thought she could just be a human, and he knew she wasn't. But when they just made her a housewife, she wasn't a housewife.
I get what you're saying. Yeah. I do. I think I was so in love with the characters at that point, I didn't care what was happening with them. The wedding, though, when you, as the mannequin, walked down the aisle, we watched that, you were just so perfect with that. How did you study that before you ended up having to play that living mannequin for the wedding?
I don't know. I just walked. No, I imagined what it would be like if the mannequin came to life and did that. I had a good time in that scene. I loved the wedding show. I loved it. I just didn't think she should have married him. That's all.
What about working with the dog, Jin? What about, was that, you're an animal lover, I believe, yourself, big time.
Yeah, I love dogs.
So is it true what they say, don't work with animals, or was he well behaved?
Well, they'll upstage you every time, you know? Even when I look at a show, if there's an animal on the scene, it's, oh boy, that's what I look at, not the actor, you know? And I liked Jin. He was a cute little guy. He was a little mutt, you know.
I liked him too.
I liked him so much that my first Labradoodle was named Ginger.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, for that dog.
You know, when you're and whenever you want to sit, you let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. When your wonderful book came out, Jeannie Under the Bottle, I had the great pleasure of getting to come to your home to do an interview with you for TV Guide. And I left so happy with that day, but there was a question that I forgot to ask you. You had, I believe, little elephants all over your home, little miniature elephants. And I want to ask, why didn't I ask her where all those elephants came from? So where did all those elephants come from?
Well, most of them were gifts. But many of them, I like the table, you know, and the elephant outside. Because I love elephants. I love the animal. I mean, if I could have an elephant, I would have one in my backyard. They're so, first of all, intelligent. They truly do not forget anything. And they take care of each other. And it's a matriarch. It's the women that pull the show together. And I just like it. I love them. I have been to Africa, and they're just beautiful, beautiful animals. They look at you and they see you, you know. Yeah.
Is that a love you had as a child too for elephants? Was that always with you, your appreciation for
No,
elephants?
I had to learn about them. You know, I always, I mean, as a child, you like all kinds of animals.
Sure.
But no, I learned about them. They're wonderful beasts.
Well, I think all of us here are fans of nostalgia and Metro and celebrating that. And when I was watching an episode recently, I was noticing that the house, there was a news story I wanted to ask you about. We were upset, but we didn't, we weren't there for it. When the Warner Ranch homes were taken down, did you get to visit your Jeannie house before that happened? And what were your thoughts? Like,
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to, but you know, things change.
oh, you have such a healthy attitude about these
That's
things.
life.
Wow, wow, yeah.
It's, nothing is as it was. You remember that. You remember the past for what it was and the good things in it. But
And find things to love about the present.
things change. That's all.
Down the street was the Stevens house, the Bewitched house, and so many people have always loved to, compare Jeannie and Samantha. And if Elizabeth had lived longer, I would have loved to have seen the two of you in a movie or something. So, did you ever get to meet Elizabeth Montgomery?
Oh, many times.
Tell me about memory and about your
I
relationship.
saw her every morning in the makeup department. But yeah, we shot on Columbia.
What's your favorite memory of Liz?
Mainly we were, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. We were both practically asleep. But she and her husband liked to go to the horse races. So she would have the newspaper out and looking to see who was going to be playing that day or whatever you call it. Yeah.
I promised Mario, the designer of those beautiful bottles out there, that I would let you all know that there are some bottles left. He's so creative. And I remember you telling me a story, and probably some of you know this, or all of you know this, about your bottle at home, that it was kind of protected. Tell me.
For the earthquake.
Yes.
Yeah, the last big one we had. Everything in the house came out. Everything. The refrigerator doors were open, the food was out on the floor in the kitchen, and we couldn't get into the office. We couldn't open the door because all of the books had come off of the shelves, and they were blocking the door. And finally, my husband, John, got the books out of the way. We opened the door a little bit, and there, in the middle of the room, was a pile of books, and I swear, it was like a perfect pyramid. And right on the top was the bottle.
Wow.
Just like that, sideways.
So, what's your theory as to why that happened?
Oh, it's magic.
I want to take an audience question. Who has a question for Barbara? Anybody? He's right there.
I was just curious, outside of Jeannie, who do people come up to you or respond to you from other characters that you've done? Who's the most besides Jeannie? Like Stella Johnson or some other character? Like who are you most recognized for besides Jeannie?
Well, Stella, of course, but I don't, I've done an awful lot.
You have.
And sometimes I'm surprised because they'll remember a film I did years ago, The Wonderful World of the Brothers Grimm, or The Seven Faces of Dr. Lao, and that makes me feel good.
The brass bottle.
The brass bottle, although I was not a genie in that. I was the girl next door.
There's a lovely young person I met right before our talk, and they just watched you in the Very Brady sequel at the end where you pop in your Jeannie outfit. How did that come about? That was such a wonderful surprise.
They just asked if I'd do them a favor. Yeah. I didn't get paid for that. I just did it. But it was
Really? Just did? Wow.
No, I just went in and did it for them. It was fun.
Oh my gosh, what a surprise. Was that the last time on screen that we saw you in the Jeannie outfit?
I believe, on screen.
On screen. But what about, there was another time then?
Well, unfortunately. Yes. I was going to Vienna for the Life Ball, which is a huge affair for AIDS. And President Clinton and, oh gosh, I can never remember his name.
John.
Elton John or something?
Elton John.
John.
Thank you. I think, yeah, it was Elton John and President Clinton. And they asked me if I would be the mistress of ceremonies for it. And I said, yes, I will. And would I put, it was 1,001 Nights was their theme. Would I wear a costume? I said, yes, I would, but not the Jeannie costume. I said, it has to be age appropriate.
Right.
You know? And they said, fine, we'll make a different kind of costume. So I flew to New York first for a fitting before we flew to Vienna. And that costume, first of all, you could pull the pants out to here. They were so big. They must have done it for a man. It was huge, just huge. And luckily, a friend of mine who's quite practical and a very good friend, when I was packing, said, "Are you taking your Jeannie costume?" I said, "No, I'm not going to wear a Jeannie costume.
Oh.
They'll laugh at me." You know? And she said, I said, "I won't wear it." So I did. And thank goodness I did.
Because
Because I had to wear it.
you had to wear it. You had to wear it.
Yeah. And oh my.
For a good cause.
I just pretended like I had something else on. I just, because, you know, a few years have passed.
Well, I can see why they would ask you, even today. It's remarkable. What do you do? What do you eat? I want to know what you eat, what you do for exercise, because you are 30 years younger than I think you might be.
I'm older than everybody.
What
The
are you
whole
doing?
world.
I want to do whatever you're doing because it's really remarkable.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you think.
What's the key? What do you have for breakfast?
What do I
What do you have for
for
breakfast? Because I'm going to start eating that.
Well, okay. I eat everything, you know.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I do. I usually have a scrambled egg or a piece of toast.
It's really magic. You're blessed. You're
I
blessed. And your attitude.
And I like. Unfortunately, I do like candy a lot. Ice cream. I have an ice cream every night.
So they have tried over and over again. They've announced an I Dream of Jeannie big screen remake, and it never happens. And they did Bewitched. Why do you think that they've never actually been able to make that remake happen?
I don't know.
Well, should it happen?
I don't know. You know, the movie industry is different.
No, I know.
It's very different from most industries, but as well it should be. And I think that particular genre has been done a lot, though. You know, the 1,001 Nights, Kismet.
Sure.
So it is a classic theme. It's not something that hasn't been done.
I don't want to see anybody else in that Jeannie outfit ever besides you. I don't think it's meant to be. I think some things you just don't touch.
Well,
And that's
thank
one
you.
of them. Well, I really do feel that way. Let's talk about Larry Hagman, who I absolutely love. He was a scoundrel, but I want to talk to you actually about the most heartfelt moment you guys shared. Was there a moment when you guys really just were sort of there for each other, maybe a difficult scene or...
He was always there for me. Always. If it was someone rude in a crowd where we were going, or he was just really, really a good friend. He wasn't as good a friend to himself.
Yeah.
You know, he didn't take good care of himself, but he certainly did me. And I appreciated it. My husband recognized it too.
Yeah.
You know, he said, you know, he really takes good care of you. And I said, yes, he does.
Did he make the call to invite you on to Dallas when you came on as Leanne de la Vega in the final season of Dallas?
I don't know if he did or not, but he did direct those shows.
Did he?
Yeah. So probably he did. We didn't talk about it.
How was it for you guys playing against each other, but in a totally different dynamic. You were an adversary. What was that like for you to shoot that character?
Honey, I got him good.
You did.
I sure did. Day and day. That's fun.
And there was a little nod to Jeannie that they revealed. I guess her character's last name was real last name was Nelson.
Nelson,
So
right.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, right.
You and Larry, I think the last thing you guys did together professionally was love letters.
We did love letters a lot.
Mm.
Yes.
What do you remember about that? The tour that you did and those performances with Mr. Hackney?
Well, he was wonderful. He was wonderful. He was just a fine actor. And unless you were working with him, I don't think you really realize how good he was. It was like talking to you. I'm talking to you right now, and it's very real. That was Larry. That's the way we were. We worked very well together, and I loved it.
It was a beautiful cast all around, and a gentleman over here was talking about Hayden, what a great actor Hayden O'Rourke was.
Hayden O'Rourke, oh.
And
yeah.
in your book, I read about how you were a guest at his dinner parties with his husband. Tell me about a dinner party at Hayden O'Rourke's house. What was that like?
Good food. I remember it's the first time I saw the candles in the bag. You know, as we came up.
Oh, right.
To
the lanterns.
the driveway.
Yes.
We walked up and I said, "Oh, why don't they burn?" You know, a little candle in the bag. Walked up. Everything was always perfect with him. It was lovely.
And another kind soul was Bill Daly.
Oh.
Why are you laughing?
Because what you saw was what you got. That was Bill. Yeah. Oh, he was a dear. He was just a dear.
Oh. When it must have been odd for you to go back for Jeannie 15 years later to have a different Tony Nelson. I thought Wayne did as good a job as anybody could do. But how did you make that shift in your head? And was that something that did you think, can I do this without Larry?
Well, it was different.
Yeah.
But I expected it to be different.
Yeah.
You know, that's all. Larry was doing Dallas, and he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
The schedule was conflicted. I can't say I was disappointed because Wayne Rogers was wonderful.
He did a great job.
Yeah, he did.
It was an impossible job, and he actually did a very commendable job, I thought.
Yeah. But, you know, it would have been great if Larry had been able to do it, but he couldn't.
Someone that probably people don't ask you about as much because she actually passed away right after Jeannie passed was Jeannie, and it was Emmeline Henry, Mrs. Bellows. Tell me what kind of woman she was. What was she like?
Fun.
Yeah?
She was fun. Oh, yes. And very attractive.
Oh.
Yeah.
Dean Martin is someone you got to work with as well.
Oh, I loved him.
Tell me a Dean Martin story or a memory about Dean.
There is no story, really. You know, he was known for not rehearsing. He would rehearse. But of course, with music, you can just do it. So I didn't really rehearse with him until they came out to do the numbers. And he's right there. He's so good. I mean, a pro is a pro, you know.
And one of the early variety shows, you went on to do many other variety shows. You did Sonny and Cher. You were on Sonny and Cher.
Yeah, on Cher and Sonny.
And then Sonny.
Yeah.
Do you remember anything about working with Sonny and Cher?
Well, let me think. I don't think there's...
Quite a while ago.
We did Cher and I did a duet.
Oh.
And that was... Oh, I know a story I can tell you. As I said, my first husband, Michael and Sarah, was Lebanese. And he dated Cher's mother. And so when I came on the show, and I knew this, you know, I knew it before, and Mike and I were not married at the time that
Sure.
we had But Cher said, I used to sit on Mike's lap. Came to take my mom out. Yeah, I said, I know, but you were 3 years old,
You also got to know Johnny Carson a bit. You did many of his early shows.
Yes.
What was Johnny like at that time in his life before he became Johnny Carson, the Tonight Show legend?
Yeah, that was actually my first break in Hollywood. Johnny Carson was doing the summer replacement for Red Buttons, not Red Buttons. Skeleton, yes. And I had auditioned. I hadn't auditioned. I'd had meetings with the producers and had not gotten the job. I don't know. Did I tell you this story?
I haven't heard it, no.
Well, I was living in the studio club, and I wasn't working at all at anything. So I had an interview, and my agent said, Barbara, wear the dress. I have one sexy dress. And he said, wear the dress and go up there, because it's something that is right up your alley. Because he knew I was a singer and I'd done a lot of comedy. And so I said, okay. And I went up and I talked to the director and the producer and told them my background, where I studied, what I'd done, because they knew I hadn't done anything.
Sure.
But I studied voice at the conservatory, I studied theater at the Holloway School, blah, 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 Didn't get the job. So my agent said, oh, I know why I didn't get it. It was cold, and I had a white fluffy coat, and I put the coat on, and I parked at CBS, and I didn't take the coat off. I walked into the building. It was colder in the building than it was out because of air conditioning.
Sure.
So I left the coat on. So when I had this meeting with the director and the producer, I didn't take the coat off. I didn't take it off because I felt like I'd say, ta-da!
Well, yeah, ta-da, here I am.
I never saw the dress, So my agent said, what happened? You should have gotten that job. And I said, well, I didn't take my coat off. So the next time...
You took your coat off.
I took my coat off, but I still didn't get the job. And I was walking down the hall after talking to, again, the same director. And there were some men at they were having a fountain, they were just talking.
Yeah, sure. Water cooler chat.
And they made a few remarks, and I went, and kept going to the elevator, and one of the men detached himself, came over and took my arm, and walked me down the hall. And he said, you don't mind, do you? And I said, no, I don't mind. Who was to mind? I was in a building with a lot of people.
Sure.
And he said, well, I bet them that I'd do this. And I said, that's okay. So I pushed the button, and he said, did you go in and see so-and-so at the, Johnny Carson store? I said, yeah. He said, did you get the job? I said, no. I knew I hadn't. And he went like that. Well, he was the executive producer on the show, so I did get the job. And afterwards, the director apologized to me. He said, I am so sorry. He said, I fell into that hole that sometimes we do in this business. We think if we are casting a dumb blonde who can't sing, we have to have a dumb blonde who can't sing. And he said, you were too intelligent and you'd had too much schooling. He said, I didn't think you could do it.
Wow.
But I did it.
Wow. And now you can sue for $2 million for having said that, probably.
No, for taking my arm in the hole.
Well, I want to get a couple questions from the audience. Yes, you spoke earlier.
Yeah, as an actor myself, I want to ask, what school did you go to growing up, starting, where did you study, how did you build your craft, and at a younger age,
Yeah, how did you learn how to be the actress you are?
I studied a lot. I also worked a lot in San Francisco when I started when I was about 18, when I just got out of high school. I studied voice at the conservatory, and then I would work with dance bands around the Bay Area. Not singing opera, of course, and I also studied theater with Elizabeth Holloway, who, and we did a lot of good stuff, you know, things you don't use usually, but it worked. I did a lot of theater in San Francisco, and then came down to LA and worked in a bank.
Well, shout it out so we can hear it.
Please talk about the study that tomorrow is not another day.
I can't hear
Tomorrow, he was asking about the episode "Tomorrow Is Another Day." Do you remember that? Let's help us out with what that was about. My mind's blanking too.
Now, when you read that astronaut is a flash, it landed in the newspaper.
I can't. I'm sorry. I can't.
you.
Somebody help us.
What happened?
Yeah, you
Like
read
the
about
newspaper,
Yeah.
she blinked the wrong date.
Oh, you blinked the wrong date.
Like the next day, some astronaut had been killed or something.
Well, my gosh, you know, it amazes me. I'm going to kind of just alter that question. Okay, thank you for it. Does it amaze you, and this is in respect that your fans probably know the episodes better than you do?
Much better.
Yes.
Much better.
Yes.
And know the page.
The page of the script it was on.
Oh, yeah.
And so kind of we will hope we address that. I hope not really. What's the strangest fan encounter you've had, Barbara, where someone came up to you at a location or in a country where you didn't expect to be approached, and they said, "Oh my gosh, I love Jeannie."
I think the first time that happened to me was in Germany.
In Germany.
I was in actually, we'd taken a cruise on the Danube,
Oh.
and you get off and you go to little towns and gift shops and things, and I was in a gift shop, just talking to people that were on the boat with us, and this man, rather large guy, tall, and he came over, and he didn't speak English, but he wanted to know, I can't even say the name in German, it's Bitte Jeannie or something, but I heard that much, and I knew, and he said, ja, that is good, ja, and I said, ja.
Hey, sir, I think you're more than a help.
No, it's fine. That's good. No, it's fine.
What's your question right here?
Jeannie? Well, I had been reading about it in the Variety and Reporter, and they were testing a lot of women and girls, but gorgeous, tall brunettes, and beauty contest winners. And I thought, well, that's not me. That's not going to get me a job. And then my agent sent me the script, and I read it, and he called me and said, did you like it? And I said, I love it. And he said, well, how did it go? No, he said, did you like the script? I said, yes, I like it a lot. But do they know what I look like? And he said, well, they have offered you the role. Now, I don't know how that happened, but it did. And I said, well, I really want to do it, So I had tea with Sidney Sheldon, who, was the creator, and that was it. That's how I got it.
Jeannie,
Oh,
too.
I loved being a brunette. I was a brunette in The Seven Faces of Dr. Lau, too. That wig. It's fun. Gets you out of yourself,
Well, my mic is going out, so I think that's
Uh-oh.
good for me to ask you a question. Last question. What's Jeannie doing now? Since she's going to live forever. in your mind, where is Jeannie in 2024?
Wherever she wants to be.